Good morning. I am getting the sense that Mike Gorga might not be the most fun guy to stand around at a party. Probably did not have a calling as, say, an old style casino greeter, but he is very persistent and good in his assessment of what's going on. I like his writing. I've never met him. I was in Northeast Pennsylvania not too long ago, but would like to meet the guy. He reminds me of the kind of person who would have made a great prophet in terms of the way he makes things blunt, no matter how fun and giddy it makes him seem. He would have been great like around the temple era in Israel when things were basically ancient Israel, when things were not going so well and the people needed to wake up. So here's what I caught on Facebook that he wrote, and I pretty much agree with it, even though I'm not really a generation after the greatest generation. I'm really more two generations after the so-called greatest generation. A thing that I never really bought into, by the way, just because Tom Brokaw was the one who popularized it, and he's a big media liberal, so I don't take anything he says too seriously. I imagine most generations are the same, but technology and changes in civilization and what is expected of them make a difference. We'll see. Maybe that's a little bit too optimistic, but I'm not sure it was the greatest generation. I'm not sure people who fought World War I would necessarily say that about World War II or the Civil War. They're definitely better than the ones today, but that's another story. Here's what he writes. Let's face it, in the end there will be no wall, there will be single payer. Christians will continue being demonized by the culture makers, Islam celebrated and that culture integrated. The effort to reduce the white majority by design will go forward, punishing the successful by taking their earnings and giving them to those who did not earn, except for the very successful. The elite won't apply to them. There will be no penalty for harboring rapists and other criminal and illegal aliens, and entertainment will continue being used to mainstream mental illness. Agree with pretty much all of that so far. It will happen because we've allowed our leftist universities to indoctrinate our kids for 50 years. It will happen because white guilt has turned Obama into secular Jesus, spelled Geezus, and now he's the model for leadership. And I'll put in my Obama voice right here. And all the media fully support that with utter adoration. They've proven they're not white supremacists by being white minority supremacists. They've proven in quotes, just like minority supremacists was just in quotes, they've proven they're not racists by letting the likes of Obama, Holder, Lynch, Johnson, who's Johnson? Again, I haven't had coffee yet, Rice and company get away with everything. Republicans in government don't dare object or they will be painted racists, and that notion broadcast coast to coast by the Obamaite media. The greatest generation built a magnificent nation. My generation, the baby boomers, tore it down brick by brick and board by board. We did it because we grew up in the 60s, where the march to total immorality began in the drug and illicit sex-induced stupor. We started kicking God from the country. We tore at the corners of morality as the peeling away of it began. We celebrated drug addicts, and loose women and men were judged by their betting skills rather than their actual accomplishments. I don't even know if the betting skills were necessarily that great, given all the drugs people were taking. Here we are today. We celebrate people who sneak into the country and consume our jobs, social programs, healthcare, and make demands for things progressives cannot wait to supply, almost apologizing that they had to ask. All this must be immediately provided in the interest of America's true power, its diversity. Please. We celebrate in mainstream mental illness. We celebrate people for the color of their skin or because we've identified them as fabricated victim groups. We were handed the greatest nation. Now collectively, through effort and lack of response to that effort, we are tearing her down. I am so very sorry. My generation is the worst. I don't think he really believes his generation is the worst. I think he believes the generations that came later are even worse. And so on, and continuing. And I'd say this just fits in and makes a contrast at the same time with what I'm reading in terms of the assessment of civilization going on about 2/3 into The Grapes of Wrath, which I'm reading right now. Steinbeck definitely had some social commentary and how societies evolved and what the risks to the society were, and it's just interesting. I may talk about this in another video. Just the idea of what a socialist, what was going through his head in the 1930s or 40s when he wrote this. And what he would really think of this generation. He was writing about working people who had lost their farms in a generation or two and really had nowhere to go. I don't think he was necessarily talking about the people who call themselves socialists today, Antifa types. Just my 2 cents. I haven't really even explored that thought too much. All right, thank you for watching.